Hi, and welcome back, Freedom Warriors, to Essential Talks, where you stay for the conversation, you leave empowered. So today we're going to talk about, I guess, the biggest thing that's going on in Canada would be the trucker convoy. Better statement, the biggest thing that is going on around the world, because it looks like Canada has inspired the world to start their own trucker convoys, which is happening in Europe, Australia, the States, everywhere. It's just basically everyone is latching onto this concept and idea and following through with it. So this might actually be the full tipping point. We do know that we have the fitness rebellion going on, and we're going to keep pushing this fitness rebellion, for the next month or so. And we're going to have quite a few guests that will be coming on for that. But today we just kind of want to address what's happening in Ottawa. There's a lot of misinformation that's coming out of there. I was there for Saturday and Sunday, and I did not see anything of what the mainstream media is talking about. There has been rumors that, there's quite a few millions spent on agitators. We had groups like Antifa amongst the crowd. You could see the truckers, they were walking around with their bare faces hanging out. And then Antifa and all those seem to have a lot of, let's say, face coverings and multiple other things. And they seem to be a little more the disruptors, whereas the truckers were very friendly and honking their horns and welcoming everybody. So it's quite the different atmosphere than what we're seeing or being told that it was. So being there first-handed, all I saw was peace and love, children running around, people taking care of people.
How many people did you see?
It was estimated. I believe as a report from the RCMP that it was estimated on Saturday, there was anywhere from 2 to 2.3 million people there.
Wow. I kick myself. I didn't get I was working all weekend, and so I didn't get a chance to make it out there, but my mother-in-law did, and I was on the phone with her in the evening, and I could she's right beside the trucks, and they're honking, and so every couple of minutes we had to kind of stop for a second and just and wait for them to finish. But she said it was one of the most empowering experiences she's had in a really long time. We've gone to protests in the past, and it's really nice when a lot of people come out to it, but this was something else. She said the energy was absolutely just palpable, and that it was really good, and everyone was working together and providing for the truckers, and that just that the atmosphere, she said that she hasn't felt that kind of connection in as long, actually, I mean, at this point, as long as she can remember, really, for the past couple of years. So how did you feel when you're there?
Oh, it was incredible. Absolutely incredible. The energy was intense. As I said, it was a lot of peace and love. I was hanging out with Kellyanne Wolf and Lamont Diaglo from The Line. They had he had a tent, and there was live music. So we were literally dancing in the street, singing along. People were like, it was just absolutely stunning what was happening. And again, it was all about kind of the peace and love and getting rid of these mandates. And our truckers are there for the long haul. It's not like they have anywhere else to go. They've all been pushed out of their jobs, so they're in it for the long haul. And this is where us as Canadians need to actually step up and support the truckers and make sure that they're there doing what they need to do, and we need to support them in any way we possibly can. So what we'd like to talk about as well is for the small businesses that are sitting on the fence, or the ones that are open, just keep opening. All of you, just keep opening. Show the truckers the support that they deserve and that they need. And this is how we can do it from our own backyards, our own neighborhoods. Just start opening up your businesses and giving those truckers the support that they definitely need. So
we can't let this be a single movement where it's just one industry. This has to be a whole movement, because when it comes at it from all sides, that's where we really start to really make a difference. So now that we have the world's attention, it really just let's keep the momentum going. And so anybody who's on the fence about opening, really, as you can see from what the truckers are going through, they're going to have some pushback, and they're just pushing through. I just actually read today that there was a block at where is it, the Alberta and not Michigan, it's Montana, I think it was, border, that they have a blockade going on over there right now, and there's kind of police there and everything. And they're saying, you're not taking me away unless it's in handcuffs. I'm doing this for my children and their children's children. At this point, everyone needs to stand up and don't think that you're just a drop in the bucket. How many drops in the bucket until you have a full bucket, until it's a waterfall that spills over and takes out this tyranny? So, I mean, don't think that you're just one. You're one of a many people. And the more people that realize that their efforts matter, the sooner we can get rid of all this, the sooner that we can push this over. I mean, we already got Trudeau in hiding, which is amazing. So, yeah, I can't believe that. I mean, not I can't believe, but the look in his eyes at that one interview just before everything was happening, the level of satisfaction I had from seeing that smug look that he usually has wiped off his face, and this wide-eyed fear that he had. Oh my God, I could eat that for breakfast. And so, yeah, it was fabulous.
Well, he's not even in Ottawa at the moment. And
I heard that.
Apparently both his children have COVID, and now he's tested positive for COVID. So he just has to stay away a little longer, I guess. But I wound up doing a Facebook Live, and it was great because I wound up saying, this is the fringe minority. So what I wound up doing is I went to the end of Wellington Street, kind of where they had it blocked off with the police. And I walked the whole length of all the truckers, the whole length of the street where the whole protest was. I held my phone way up in the air so that we could get the perfect view. As soon as I got in front of Parliament, they were blocking signals. So you couldn't access your internet properly. It kept knocking off my Facebook Live. I kept trying to get it back on. Then I managed to get a second video going as soon as I was out of the Parliament area, and then it kicked back on. So when I started the video, I wound up saying, this is the fringe minority. So just have a look. And when you think about it, because when I was driving into Ottawa, there was probably about 6 different bridges that I passed. And there was the one bridge, there was probably like 300 people or so. You know what I mean? And every bridge, then we were seeing it down in parking lots, lining the edge of the highway. So I figure I probably passed a good, 2,500 to 3,000 people just standing on bridges. So when you actually look at that, if 2 million people showed up in Ottawa, and every single bridge we've watched this convoy go past, there's been several hundred to several thousand. When they hit Vaughan, there was about 10,000 people standing on the bridge and in that area. And then you have 2 million that actually could make it to Ottawa. Is this the fringe minority, or is this the silent majority standing up? Because you really got to question, if 10% of the people got to Ottawa and represented, that's a lot.
Yeah, I'm going to say that's most of Canada. I mean, every single person I've talked to about this, they're done with this. They're absolutely done with this. Yeah. I haven't met a person who's just like, yeah, you know what? This is for our health. We need to keep this going. And it's just like, you hear about those people, but they're falling off. They're few and far between at this point. And I mean, you're always going to have the extremists on the other end. So I mean, really, anybody who's I want to say this, on their knees for tyranny at this point, they're going to stay there because the egos can't let them get it back up again. I'm glad that our side has tried to be a little bit more easygoing in terms of being more open arms and trying to, like, yes, you might have been on the other side before, but if you're willing to come to this side of things, open arms. It's just, we really need all the people we can get at this point, and closing ourselves off and holding grudges and things is not how we're going to get there. So if you have any friends or family who, are starting to wake up and realize things, don't shove it in their face. Don't rub it in their face. That's not what they need right now. They need help and understanding, and to an extent, forgiveness. I mean, they may not come out and ask for forgiveness, but it needs to be there on the table regardless. So unspokenly. Yeah, we just had comments. One of the comments was saying that the Mariners, that they're coming out as well too. They're having the Mariners for Freedom, and they're getting their kind of stuff going, and that they're going to do something outside of Trudeau's summer home, which I'm just like,
nice.
Yes. And so I love it. I love it. We need more of this. This is perfect. And then, yeah, just hearing all the things globally, like you mentioned before. I heard there was something happening in Australia. They're trying to do something in Canberra. My husband mentioned something that they're trying to do talks about something in India, which I think would be wild, just given their population. And so, and just having the I'm going to say this, a celebrity level kind of notoriety for this, like just Elon Musk's tweet and Joe Rogan talking about it on the podcast and other people talking about things. It's just, we needed that. We really need that. Everyone kind of was, I don't know, it just seemed like Canada was kind of a blind eye. I mean, a lot of people's focus was somewhat on Australia just because of the level of craziness that's going on down there. But we seem to be kind of shuttered into the background. Yeah, and apparently even Trump applauded it, says Steph in the comments here. And so, and actually I heard that, my husband had listened to it, but just having that recognition, I think really just helped to make us more empowered and let's just keep the momentum going. So anybody who hasn't donated to the GoFundMe, we'll try to put a link in the description to help with supporting them. I mean, I was watching it grow by 1 million a day. And so, and the more, especially with the Americans joining in and other people, like I saw donations of 15,000, 30,000, 25,000. Like it was insane. Like the amount of money they've been throwing into it. It's fantastic. It'll really keep this going. So yeah, and apparently, so Patricia's saying check out the media that I guess India is not happy with Trudeau, which I would imagine. I mean, like how many costumes has he dressed up in and offended them? So I mean, really, to begin with. So, but yeah, so in terms of you said that the behavior of people was, love, peace, joy, everything like that. I heard that people were picking up the litter and that it was stayed relatively clean. How was that?
Yeah, no, definitely. There was a lot of people that were helping out. Everybody was lending a hand. If anyone, slipped or fall, they were picking each other up. We had people in the crowd that had masks on. We had people in the crowd that we knew were single, double, triple vaccinated. It didn't matter. People are standing up. So it's very funny because, as I said, I've heard rumors there's about 45 million that was spent on disruptors, and to have the media paint a picture in any form possible in a negative manner. So they're always calling us isms and is, right? So it's literally they have a bunch of name calling, and we had, as I said, vaccinated people. We had people in masks. We had every single color and culture there. We've had natives there. So it's kind of funny when they're like, oh, you're white nationalists, yet we have natives doing drum circles. So it's what? It really makes you question what the heck's going on. So again, on my Facebook, I've been posting as much as I can to dispel what the mainstream media has been putting out there. I have a little video that is showing people picking up the garbage. There's a garbage can overflowing. They have garbage bags. They're literally picking it up, putting it into garbage bags. They're scrubbing down the Terry Fox memorial statue. They're kneeling and praying at the nameless soldier's grave. So what they're showing in the media is something different. And I also have a photo where it's being taken of the gentleman that's walking around with a rebel flag. And they're showing that there's one of the photographers who's up nice and close and taking pictures of this is one of the photographers that is always taking pictures of Trudeau. So it's basically we're showing the disruption that the government is having. And with this whole narrative, the further it keeps going and going and going, the more ridiculous is going to be spewing out of their mouth. So when Trudeau actually got up and talked today, a lot of people were making comments like, just what an idiot, and on and on and on about Trudeau and his comments, because they're seeing through all the lies. They're starting to get the picture of what's actually happening here. Now, I've been saying for over a year that the world has been watching Canada on what we do. And I've always believed that. And now we're seeing it today. It's actually come into fruition where now I can say, oh yeah, as a conspiracy theorist, that is right again, right? And so when we actually look at conspiracy theorists, I want to just take that for a moment, right? So when you have a conspiracy, it's one or two individuals that are plotting against others to do harm or ill will. And then a theory is when you're building together a bunch of thoughts that will point you in the direction to collect evidence or proof for it to become real. So when you go to a doctor, for example, and something's wrong with you, the doctor is going to theorize what's wrong with you, do a bunch of tests until they conclude what it is. So when you put those two words together, conspiracy theorist is somebody that is collecting data and evidence to prove that a conspiracy is happening against you. So it's kind of ridiculous when someone says, oh, a conspiracy theorist, and then they stop listening to you, no matter how much research and data you have collected. So kind of keep that in mind what the actual real true meanings of these words mean. So again, everyone thought I was kind of a conspiracy theorist about talking about how the world's looking at Canada, and yet here we are, right? So we got to keep this momentum going. As we're saying, all business owners, open your doors, start to get open. There's a lot of individuals out there that don't see everything that's happening, and that's fine. Keep your business closed. The rest of us keep opening. The more and more we open, eventually those businesses that are closed are not going to like not being open, and you're taking all their business. So eventually they will come to the table. Guaranteed.
I would say even if the people aren't even, I don't know who wouldn't be aware. You'd have to be under a rock at this point for what happened, what is happening in Ottawa. But regardless, like they're like I was saying before, they're done with it, and so they want to go back to a point of normalcy, and so they want to go out and have food and go to services and go to events and go to all these things. And so if you're going to help with rebelling, if you're going to push against all this, you got business waiting for you. There's a lot of people that want to go out and do fun things again, and so I mean, like, really at this point, what's holding you back? I mean, like, the fines are laughable. Even if you had a court summons, it's pretty much laughable at this point. The amount of things that are in the pipeline for that, like, you can't. There's no reason. Like, you're going to make so much more money opening than if you, like, I got a court summons, and they tried to say that if I settled for it, it would be $750, and I could still plead for financial leniency or something. And so it's just like, are you going to make more than $750 in the time span that it takes for you to actually, like, I got that last May. And I think I have another court date is supposed to happen in February, and I don't even think it's going to happen. So honestly, like, really, what are you waiting for? There's so much money to be made on the table right now, and there's so many people that want to come and patron businesses, especially ones that are supporting, pushing back against this. No one wants this anymore. So you're just, it's ripe for the taking. Like, why wait?
And kind of like what you're saying with the whole going through the courts, and even if you go through the courts and you wind up losing for whatever reason, by the time you get into the court, it's going to take you about a year. And then you can go for any extension or whatever. If they find you guilty, you just push it off as long as you can on paying it back. You can do like Jessica said. And then by then, somebody is going to have, created the precedents where it's all going to fall apart. This whole thing is done illegally. All of the procedures that they put on us from the beginning, when they put the Emergency Act on us, that was not one of the provinces or territories actually fit the criteria for the Emergency Act to be put on us. So they scrambled very quickly, and each province wrote their own thing. So in Ontario, we have the Reopen Ontario Act, which wasn't done properly at all. And any good lawyer or paralegal or anyone that knows laws realizes and recognizes how sloppy this was. They know it's not proper. We all know it's not proper. It's a matter of time before the whole house of cards crumbles down. So you take a hit, no big deal. You just push it off. None of us are going to pay these fines. We just push it off until it's all won, and then it's just going to all fall to the wayside. So again, support our truckers because they're supporting us. And if we don't support them, we don't get anything. So the magnitude of this, most people can't comprehend it. Okay, so even if you're in an office building, who's bringing your paper? Who's bringing you pens, pencil, printer ink? Who's bringing you the software? Where does all this come from? Right? The truckers. Okay. Now, the original mandate was for those that are crossing the border. And so this is where the media has eluded the average person, because the media is saying, well, it's only something like 20% of the truckers walked off the job. But it's more like 80% of the truckers that are going across the border. So who brings all the products from the States to the warehouses? Oh, yeah, the guy's going across the border. So if they're not bringing the same product over to fill our warehouses, then the truckers that are working inside of Canada, what are they hauling? Do you see how this supply chain collapse is happening? It's called fabricated. They manufacture this whole thing. So we got to get behind them and try and stop this. And that's how we do it, by sticking together, unity, put all our differences aside. This doesn't matter about anything. Like, you can have all the differences you want in the world, but we all have to come together. All religious sects, basically all the diversities of walks of life we have in Canada, which is a lot of different cultures and creed, and we have to come together, support each other, and get on with this.
They're going to try to demonize the truckers. They're going to try to say, well, these are the people that are holding you back from getting access to the things that you need. And it's just like, no, they're not. It's the mandates. It's really like, I mean, at what point who was going to take enough of a stand that it actually made a difference? So if this is where it really comes down to, you're just going to have to strap in and go through it, and we'll all suffer in solidarity. That's what it's going to take. I mean, like, they can't. Turning on them is basically, in a way, caving into tyranny. It's caving into that, because without that push, what else was it going to take? What else would it have taken? Like, it just, you have to inconvenience people from that level for them to have enough pushback to say, hey, if you don't lighten up on these restrictions, which have been shown to be ridiculous at this point. I mean, like, myself and my entire group of friends, who are mostly all jabbed, like they all got COVID. Like, everyone's got it. So I mean, and it's clearly passing around. So I mean, at this point, it's like, who are we even protecting at this point, really? And so and I mean, after Ottawa, they're going to push on to, I think it was Washington as well too. And there's a lot of truckers in the U.S. who have had enough of this as well too. So there was an argument saying that, well, just because we push to have no mandates in Canada doesn't mean to be allowed into the U.S. at this point, because of what Biden pushed through, because he's so pissed off about OSHA not accepting his 100+ employee mandate. That's not going to last either. I mean, like, if American truckers are pushed to go through this exactly the same thing too, it's going to be crazy. And so they're not going to have much of a choice either but to let it drop as well too. So it might take a little bit of time, but it's, again, in solidarity. So we have to keep pushing. Nobody wants this. I mean, if you look at the way that the Conservatives are now kind of backing off of their earlier rhetoric that they had during elections, when they tried to say, oh yeah, pro-vax pass, like, how is that conservative? Now it's like, they're like, well, maybe there's issues with this. There's issues with this. This is not fair. This is targeting people. They're trying to bring what was it? Terrorist, or I can't remember what his charges against Trudeau for the statements that he was making. Hate speech. I think it's hate speech.
Yeah, hate
for the
speech,
things that he's been saying. It's just like, talk about out of touch. Like, that's just, they calling these people extremists. They're misogynists and racists. It's like, all right there, bud. Like, says the guy that wore blackface more times than he can remember. So I like, really. So yeah, I think my husband mentioned that he just recently called the unvaxxed Nazis, and it's like, do you have any perception of history and what is actually what you're doing? Like, what you're saying, it makes absolute nonsense. And so, and then Paul's saying that he heard the talk about that tradesmen are planning their own convoy or uprising too. So again, the more the better. Everything, it's going to get a little crazy for a bit, but it's better to suffer through the short-term inconveniences right now than go to the long-term haul of getting rid of this. You can look back historically, and anytime governments get power, they are loath to relinquish it. So, and it usually happens in blood. So just saying, if it goes that way, be prepared for the long haul of that, but we need to end it now. And so Patricia was saying that so basically everyone needs to come together and just like helping the truckers with whatever they need to keep going with this. It's going to be an uncomfortable ride. They are going to need access to facilities, restrooms, food, everything. I had heard things that Trudeau tried to get the GoFundMe pulled. At the same time too, with the amount of money that GoFundMe is going to make from that thing, good luck. I mean, there again, like you saw in your videos, like and what you saw in person, it's all this is peaceful, and they're allowed to do peaceful protests. They're allowed to do this, and so I don't think GoFundMe will pull it. They're going to face a bit of pressure, but at least hopefully they can be relinquished a bunch of funds before anything like that happens. So yeah, so we'll see how that goes. But again, support it while it's still there. It's still worth it.
Now, the three organizers, they wound up doing a video. I didn't have the opportunity to watch the full video, but I did watch about 15 minutes of it. And they wound up saying that the whole talk of the GoFundMe being frozen and everything, it was 100% MSM, mainstream media, bullshit. It never was frozen. Nothing happened to it. It was just a pure BS story that was put across the mainstream media. So their video is getting out there to out the mainstream media. They did a press conference, and they didn't invite specific medias because they were full of lies. And they were not allowing them the opportunity to sit with them because they didn't want to speak face-to-face with liars, which I can't blame them. And, we're at a tipping point here. And I think we've just literally gone off the other side, and it's being very well known. And this is why we're seeing, Paul was talking about the tradesmen and doing their uprising and the convoy, and this is starting to happen globally. We're going to see many, many more in the uprise, right? We're looking at and we're hearing commercials about labor shortages and nurses shortages and all of this. Stop firing the unvaccinated and we won't have any shortages. Let us open our doors. Actually, I just open my doors anyways, but let businesses open their doors and they won't need payouts. They won't need kickbacks. They won't need any support or anything. Business people know how to make money. Let them make money and support their families and help them support other families like their employees. This is where we really need to go. Like when I took my heavy stand, I knew I was making a decision at that time. I had 11 employees. And I knew that I was making decisions for 11 of them, whether they understood it or not, didn't matter. And I was trying to help them put food on their table and move forward and keep going in this. So as business owners, we think of more than just ourselves. I didn't open my business to have my business open. I opened my business to help many others get open, stay open, and help multiple families, not just the ones in my business, but also to help the future generations thereafter. So this is it. As I said, the whole trucker convoy, this is it. This is a tipping point. We all have to get active in one way or another.
Yeah, and I mean, I've said this in numerous videos that it was really your videos and your determination and confidence that helped me to get the confidence to reopen again. So, I mean, again, and we've said this at the end of all of our videos, but anybody who's looking for that kind of support, who wants that encouragement day to day, who wants to make sure that they have, people they can rely on and fall back on if they need help in the moment, we're all essential. Like that group, it was the light for me. It helped me see that there was another way around this, that I didn't have to be alone. I didn't have to feel alone because I wasn't alone. And there are so many other businesses who are willing to push back against this. And again, the more that there are of us, how many inspectors, how many bylaw can they really get to run around and try to do their dirty work? They just can't. And especially when we're pushing back, we're putting out all these videos, we're helping people get confident, turning them away, just making them look silly, absolutely silly. Like at the leaky tank, like that interview was fantastic. And just the video that she had was, again, I can't help just call them brown shirts. I just loved it. Like unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable. And so, apparently Chris Sky's on his way to Ottawa too. Oh, that's going to be, Awesome.
I just saw that too. I just saw
Yeah,
that.
that's fantastic. So yeah, my husband and some friends are gonna, I think, kind of head up that way potentially. I'm busy working. I have lots of I have lots of business, lots of clients because I'm staying open. I'm being open, so I'm gonna get it while I can and do what I can for that. So but I mean, he's got a little bit more freedom. So but he wants to really to show them more support and go out there and really help them with that. So I'm gonna talk to him more about that and maybe set up our car with some food and stuff that he can bring out there and kind of help with doing that. Do you know if there's any place, any way you can contact them to see like what they need in terms of items? That might be something that might be worth putting on their GoFundMe for anyone who's heading out that way. Like, please bring, dub, because they're running out of it or something like that.
Yeah, I do know that getting a hold of the organizers, I haven't been able to find the easiest way to get a hold of them, but I have been directing people to certain locations where they can get a hold of some people and find out what they actually need. But I do know that the GoFundMe was supposed to be delegated to help the truckers and food and all kinds of stuff, get them gas and, support them and their families while they're there fighting for all of us. Some of the things that a lot of people don't realize is they blocked hundreds of trucks, if not 1,000, from getting into the city on almost every single day. I know they blocked the whole Prairie line that was coming in. I believe on Sunday they had them all blocked off, and so there was a good 1,000 trucks or whatever, 1,000 people there. They weren't letting them leave, so they couldn't go and access food, go and access gas or anything else. So a lot of the protesters were coordinating to get them food, get them water, try and get them what they needed. But of course, they weren't able to reach them all. So this is where we got to kind of start to look at not just the truckers, but all the ones that are actually helping and taking the time out to do these things to make sure that the truckers are taken care of as well. So we got to figure out how exactly to get a hold of some of the organizers and to be able to get them to also look at the men and women that are helping in all of these volunteer roles, because none of us have to do this, but we all have to do this. You know what I mean? So, and that's the secret behind it. So, and Canadians, man, it takes us forever to stand up. But as soon as we do, good luck sitting us down, right? And again, so you did mention we are all essential. We're also looking for volunteers as well. So, I mean, if you want to figure out a way how you can kind of support and we can support our small businesses, you can join in as a volunteer, get in there. Also, if you're watching our podcast, so you can join in, subscribe. You're not going to miss an episode. Share this everywhere. Share it as far and wide as you can. We're trying to blow it up for the reason to hit as many businesses and like-minded individuals out there. So constantly keep sharing this and subscribe to our channel, our podcast, and you'll be the first to hear about all this. I'd also like to mention that with a lot of the leaders of organizations, they have recognized the importance of unity as well. So with We Are All Essential, we have teamed up with Take Action Canada and their business side, so we've merged them. Also, Kellyanne Wolf, Chris Sky, Vlad, and Lamont Diaglo from The Line have all united again. So they're all starting to work together. This is how powerful this is. They all kind of took a break and they all went their own separate ways. Now they're all coming back together, keeping all their identities of their organization, but starting to work together as a unit and moving forward. We are all in this together and we are all essential, right? So they've recognized this, and I'm proud of this moment. Since March of 2021, I've been really trying to get groups together and get them organized and linking together and unifying, and now we're starting to see it. So this is amazing.
I love a good fruits of the labor harvest time. So this is fabulous. So yeah, so everybody keep going, keep pushing, and open up. If you haven't opened, open up.
Yeah, and if you're on the fence about opening, with We Are Essential, we have Zooms. We also have a Telegram chat. You can join, get a part of it, You can register your business. You don't have to go fully public. You can keep it in the background. There's a lot of educational stuff that you can learn all about your rights, and then get involved when it's working for you. Everybody that we have on this podcast are all fully open for you calling them, asking them advice, getting encouragement from them. We have not had one guest on here that has said no way. You know what I mean? So we're all open arm. We're all in it together. We are actually in it together. The guys that didn't miss a paycheck, all the politicians and all those other guys, they don't even know what they're in. We're all in this together. We're all going to stick together, and we're all going to make sure we all cross the finish line. So
that's well said, Jamie. Yeah, I think that we'll wrap it up for today. But yeah, it was great getting to talk about this convoy, keeping everybody motivated, and keep moving on, everybody. Let's keep pushing.
Awesome. Have a great night, people. We'll see you again next week.
Bye.